Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of August 15, 2024, including Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks has been saved by the PUBG guys. Gamescom 2024 is starting to gear up. Xbox Series may be selling similarly to Xbox 360, according to one analyst, and more. On this week in Xbox history, in the year 2012, 12 years ago, Darksiders 2 was released for the Xbox 360. Wow. Darksiders is one of those franchises. Well, actually, it's a very unique franchise for me because I've always wanted to like this franchise, but I also don't dislike it. It's just like, I don't even fully get Darksiders because the first Darksiders is like, I don't even know. It's like I don't want to compare the first one because I don't know well enough, even though that's the only one I've ever played. I played like an hour of it. It's like, I don't know. It's like got RPG elements, but it's like a third person action story, adventure type game. But then the second one everyone says is like a Zelda game with like dungeons and stuff, but I never played it. And then the third one apparently is like a Souls game, people say, where it's like a faster paced, less gruelingly difficult version of like Dark Souls, which, if anything, sounds more like my way to play that kind of game. And then they did that spin-off that's like a dungeon crawler with some other weird mechanics. But I don't know. I always look at Darksiders, I'm like, these games look awesome. I like the tone of it. I like the art style. It just looks like good, like, B-movie, schlocky video game fun shit. But I don't know what it is about these games. Like, I can never get myself to, like, actually play one. But they're all so different from one another. We know they're working on a new Darksiders game. It might be a remake, but hopefully it's a new game. We'll probably hear about that at Gamescom, I would imagine. But yeah, Darksiders 2, 12 years old. Wow. I remember contemplating whether or not I wanted to buy this for the Wii U in 2012 or in 2013 because I was just looking for things to play on the Wii U. And one of my friends was like, dude, that game is badass. It's like Zelda. And then that guy had like a mental breakdown and never came back to work, and I never saw him again. But I remember Darksiders 2. So shout out to Darksiders 2. 12 years old. Old enough to be 1 year older than 11. Awesome. Notable game releases this week, you guys. EA Sports Madden NFL 25 Standard Edition for $62.99 if you have an Xbox Game Pass or EA Plus Play whatever membership. What? So I thought Madden was already out this year. I guess I was wrong, but no. I know the college football one came out, but now we got Madden 25. It's officially here. How long do we have with Madden before they retire that name and go, nah, we don't need the licensing. We can just do EAFC Sports Professional Football Major Edition 26. Then we get another one of those nice names like the way they named their college football and soccer games in recent years. Guys, welcome to Xbox On Podcast, the podcast about French toast with one host. Just being real with you guys, work has changed for me lately. My job has changed a bit, and I have way less free time in the evenings than I used to have. So I don't know when or how we're going to get back to a place in time where I can like meander about and do the 3-hour podcasts again. But for the time being, if I'm just being completely honest, for the time being, we're going to have to keep these podcasts kind of at a rhythm. We're going to have to keep these like under an hour and a half because I just don't have the time to indulge with the, Xbox On used to go like upwards of about 2.5 hours. I feel like it was kind of average. 2 hours, 10 minutes to 2 hours and 30 minutes. That was kind of like the average run time for an Xbox On podcast. These days, I got to keep that shit under an hour and 30. Just because the rule of thumb, or at least for me, I don't know what other podcasters say. The rule of thumb is every 30 minutes of podcast recording is an hour's worth of work, because 30 minutes to record that 30 minutes, and then 30 minutes between the additional compression time or of like rendering the podcast down, and also editing the podcast, and also getting everything set. It ends up taking you about an additional hour's worth of work for every 30 minutes the podcast goes on. That's kind of the rule of thumb I have. It's not really a hard, fast rule. It doesn't totally make sense, but when you're doing like an hour and a half to 2.5 hour podcast, that is kind of how it's worked out for me in the past. Was every additional 30 minutes I go, it takes me about an additional hour to get the show done. So we're going to, for the time being, have to keep it somewhat succinct. Who knows? Maybe this will be good for the show. Maybe the show will actually start to build something of an audience instead of remaining stagnant as it has for the past 2 years. Maybe it will start to slowly increase in listenership, because people will be like, wow, I like that the guy gets to the point and doesn't linger on one thing for too long. He didn't talk about Eggo's waffles for 47 minutes like he did last week. So I don't know. We'll see if maybe this benefits the podcast, but I do just feel obligated to let you know that this is something we have to do, because I don't know, in some way I feel like I'm giving you guys a lesser product, and I don't want for that to be the case. There's just not enough time right now in a day for me, and I just got to find a way to make it work. So this is, until I can come up with something better, this is just kind of what we have to do. So please understand, as Nintendo might say. All right, guys. Mike Clark writes in and says, man, was it a real mystery that Luke Skywalker was a vegan, considering how he cried once he learned his daddy was Darth Vader? I think not. Yeah, Mike Clark, this is a great point. This is a great point, because everyone is fatherless until they find out who their dad is. And everyone's dad's kind of a piece of shit. Think about it like this. Think about how many men in this world are total assholes. I'm talking about guys that cut you off at traffic, difficult, challenging customers or clients in the office or at work, or coworkers or whatever. Just real assholes out there. You're at the theme park and some guy's like walking down the sidewalk, and you're walking down the sidewalk, and you're on the right side of the sidewalk. You're on the correct side, and he's kind of on the wrong side of the sidewalk blocking you. And you do that thing where as you approach each other, you do the psych out thing, like, who's going to move? Is he going to make a way for me, or am I going to make a way for him? Well, I'm going the right way on the sidewalk. He's going the wrong way on the sidewalk. He should move for me. He's not going to move for you because he's an asshole. He's going to slightly puff his chest just enough for you to not notice he's doing it, but subconsciously notice he has a large chest, and he's going to fucking push you. He's going to allow his left arm to make contact with your torso ever so slightly in a way that says, I'm not hitting you, but I am asserting my dominance. Every man in this world is a piece of shit, and every father is a man. So think about it like that for a second. Every man is a bad guy. Every man is a Darth Vader. And you don't see us crying about it. We're all being tough sons of bitches about it. That's what we're doing. Luke Skywalker, he hugs. You know that iconic scene where he says no because Darth Vader says, I'm your father, and he says no? Why is he hugging? He's hugging a pole. Luke Skywalker is hugging a pole and crying. That's not very masculine at all, Luke Skywalker. Please. Try not to cry like a stripper who just lost her job because she's trying to do multiple strip clubs to get her son through school while she's living out of a motel, and then the guy says, sorry Toots, you're not hot enough, we're gonna have to lay you off, and then she hugs the stripper pole and cries and says, no, that's what you look like, Luke Skywalker. You are a recently laid off sex worker. What the fuck is this podcast about? Guys, welcome to Xbox On, the podcast where we have to keep it brief and succinct because I don't have a lot of time anymore. Yep. Let's start off with the mildly amusing stories because I can't really justify anything we just said. Guys, next week is Gamescom, so we'll see Gamescom be a reoccurring theme throughout this show as we amp up for it and get all the stories. It's like, be ready for a new surprise announcement that Sega will be dropping during Gamescom. Ooh, Gamescom. Jeff Keighley might take off his shirt and show that he's actually naturally hairless because maybe at one point in time he was a child and then never grew beyond that. And so he's actually a permanent 14-and-a-half-year-old boy. I don't know. But we're going to see Gamescom hop up a lot in the news. Starting with Indiana Jones, a hotly anticipated game for Xbox fans. From PureXbox.com, that's right, there are websites other than VGC. With Avowed now delayed to 2025, the biggest Xbox first-party release scheduled for this year is, of course, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. But we still don't know when the release date is. Well, it's been confirmed that the title will be present at Opening Night Live, which is the Jeff Keighley Gamescom event showcase. And this will probably be the one where we get a release date, I would guess. If we're getting a big showing of it in the middle of August, and the game's supposed to come out this year. I'm guessing this is the time where we get the release date. So something to be excited about. They didn't promise a release date, but unless this game's getting delayed to 2025, we should expect a release date. So please be excited for that. I know I am. I'm ready for some indie. Listen, last weekend, Disney gave us some news with Animal Kingdom getting an Indiana Jones ride. This week, Xbox is going to give us some Indiana Jones news with maybe a new trailer and release date. Let's do it, man. Let's get all the indie news, okay? This is an independent podcast about Independent Jones and the Great Circle. Let's do it. All right. Speaking of Gearbox, from VGC, Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford has teased the next Borderlands game again. Posting on X following the heavy criticism of the newly released Borderlands film, which has got off to a rough start at the box office, Pitchford said Gearbox is hard at work on the next entry in this series. He says, quote, "So what you're saying is you like what my friends and I do with our Borderlands video games even more than you like some of the biggest casts and crew of the filmmakers on the planet and what they've done," he wrote. It's a nice way to kind of own the failure of the movie. He says, "I'm super flattered. We're working extra hard on what's next." Publisher 2K confirmed that the next Borderlands game was active in development earlier this year and announced that when they announced that they had acquired Gearbox from Embracer for $460 million. Speaking of Games Radar last month, Pitchford suggested we wouldn't have to wait long for more info. So this is another thing I suspect we might hear about at Gamescom. So he said, Pitchford says, "I'm confident our fans are going to be very, very happy with our next video game project and when we are ready to announce it. And I will tell you that we're not going to be making people wait for a long time before we announce it." So let's just say Gamescom, Borderlands, probably going to be some kind of news over there. But yeah, man, that movie seems like a fucking mess. I gotta be honest, I had no interest in seeing this movie. But then last weekend, the 1-2 punch of it debuting with a 0% Rotten Tomatoes score, along with the fact that T-Mobile Tuesday was offering $5 tickets to see the movie, had me very, very intrigued. Honestly, I had every intention of going to see the movie. It just something came up on Sunday that prevented me from doing it. But otherwise, I wanted to see this movie. Like, this is... Before, I was like, this is going to be like a really shitty, like 5 out of 10 kind of bad video game adaptation. But there's something really special about, yeah, this movie is averaging 0 recommendations from all critics. That makes me want to see it so much more, because you want to see just how bad it can truly be that no one is able to put their stamp of approval on the movie. That's just got to be a new level, a new achievement in shitty video game movie adaptation. It's so funny too, because right when we thought we were out of it, right? Like all these video game TV shows like Fallout and Last of Us and all these good video game movies we'd be getting, like Sonic and Sonic 2. It's just like we thought we were done, right? We thought, oh, I guess video game adaptations are good. That Gran Turismo movie last year was pretty good. So we thought, but Borderlands said, no. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you don't have to be alone in this world where you were in that really shitty Doom movie a long time ago that only had that one cool scene where it was shot in first person. We promise we can also make shitty video game movies. And they did. So good for them. Kevin Hart, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jack Black. God, what a fucking tragedy that this movie was made. Anyway, but that's cool, though. New Borderlands. Probably Borderlands 4, I would assume. Let's bring it on. I know people love those games. All right, speaking of Doom, and I'm not being silly this time, from PureXbox.com, as part of QuakeCon 2024 this week, Bethesda announced a significantly enhanced version of the original Doom in the form of Doom plus Doom 2, which is available now on Xbox and is included in Game Pass. In addition to 2 main games, the package also includes the following content: Doom 1, Doom 2, TNT Evolution, the Plutonia Experiment, Master Levels for Doom 2, No Rest for the Living, Sigil, Legacy of Rust, a new episode created in collaboration by id Software, Night Dive, and Machine Games, and a new Deathmatch map pack featuring 25 maps. So this is a great little love letter. I don't know what some of these things are. TNT Evolution. I don't know if these are mods or expansions. I don't know. I'm just going to be honest with you. But I think it's fucking badass that they have all this content, all this like history of Doom, along with like this new level made by Night Dive, Machine Games, and id Software, which is fucking awesome, all packaged into one like love letter Doom experience. So that's awesome. It has up to 4-player co-op and 16-player crossplay, which is ridiculous. There's also an in-game mod browser, the ability to switch between original remix soundtracks, improve performance to 4K 120 FPS, and accessibility options. So it's $10 or it's in Game Pass. So I want to check this out. I want to check out that deathmatch stuff. I feel like that would be a ridiculous amount of fun, and maybe some of those mods. But yeah, man, thought that was really cool. Doom getting some love. I love surprise shit like that. Very thoughtful. Very thoughtful as opposed to what Sega's doing here, which is kind of the opposite of a thoughtful way to bundle together games, where Sonic Generations, the 2010 hit 3D Sonic game, is being delisted from digital storefronts next month, but players will still have a way to buy it. In a statement posted on the official Sonic Twitter account, Sega confirmed that the 2011 game, I said 2010 because I'm dumb, will be pulled from storefronts on September 9th, digital storefronts. It was probably pulled from physical storefronts in 2013, 2014. Presumably, this will be to make way for the remaster Sonic X Shadow Generations, which comes out in October, going toe-to-toe with Call of Duty for some reason. However, it also stated that those bundles that those who don't have the game will still be able to acquire it through a new bundle, even after it's been delisted. It also reassures players that the Steam version, which has a small but dedicated modding scene, that the mod support will continue to be enabled. Quote, "We're excited to share Sonic X Generations with you this October, and we see new generations cherish this game as much as we do," the statement reads. On September 9th, the original Sonic Generations will be removed as a standalone title, but we've heard your feedback and we want to preserve the game. Therefore, Sonic Generations will still be available via bundles and other iconic Sonic titles on Steam and Xbox. Existing owners of the title will be able to download and play as well. Lastly, we're happy to confirm that mods for the Steam version will not be affected. This new bundle, called the Sonic Legacy Bundle, will include a number of classic Sonic games for $60. This is kind of a lot for $60. Comes with Sonic Generations Collection, Sonic Adventure DX, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Adventure Battle, Sonic the Hedgehog Episodes 1 and 2, Sonic 3D Blast, and Sonic Spinball. I feel like that is a really good value for $40 at most. This is kind of ridiculous. I think this is like really shitty that they're doing this. They're clearly just trying to shoehorn people, corral them into buying the new Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is a Sonic Generations remaster for modern hardware, along with that new Shadow content. Listen, as much as I am going to buy that shit and play it day one, I don't think this is a good way to force people to support and buy this game. This is kind of shitty. It's bad practice. It looks bad. And while Bethesda's over here keeping the pre-existing versions of Doom on the storefronts, while also creating a new low price to entry $10 collection love letter of old Doom, Sega's doing the opposite by disrespecting Sonic, putting in an overpriced bundle, paywalling this old game by only allowing the new version to be available. It's not a good time. So Sega, you can do better than this. I don't like this shit. This is one thing I hate about remasters, is that everything's like an excuse to like abandon the original iteration of the game to try and resell it to you. And if this is a trend we see continue, where it's like, oh, don't worry, we can just blacklist the old version of the game so we can force you to spend more money on the slightly updated version of the game, then, well, this just is bad news for respecting gamers' wallets while also preserving video games properly, because Sonic Generations deserves to be preserved in its original format, not just in whatever the latest greatest way to make money off of it is. So I hate this. I hate everything about this. It's tacky, it's tasteless, and it's just tone deaf, man. Like, why do you have to do that? But speaking of Sega, they said that at Gamescom they will be there to announce a previously unannounced game. So no one knows exactly what that is. We know we got that Atlas Metaphor ReFantazio game. We know we got Sonic and Shadow Generations, but we don't know what this game could be. Although, following the success of 2 Point Hospital and 2 Point Campus, Sega did announce this week that a third entry in the series, titled 2 Point Museum, will be coming soon to Xbox Series and consoles. So maybe, just maybe, they're talking about showing off this new 2 Point museum game, but maybe they're talking about something that literally no one's heard of yet. So curious to see what that will be. I wonder if maybe it's a look at one of these Sega or not Sega Ages, what do they call that? The new Sega initiative where they're taking all the old IP and reimagining them with new games. Like, I don't know, give us like Shinobi or something. I want to see that stuff. I don't know. I don't want to get too excited because it'll be something lame. It'll be like, oh, we're publishing this golf game in Saudi Arabia and China or something. Fuck you. But yeah, let's keep a cautiously optimistic eye open for Sega as we approach Gamescom in the coming week. Maybe they'll have something interesting to say. Yeah, guys, we got two more, and kind of one more. A little bit of disappointing news, but good news in the long run from Pure Xbox. Replaced has been delayed. The 2.5D Xbox platformer has once again been pushed back, this time to 2025. Developer Sad Cat Studio has dropped the news via social media, saying that the 2024 date that they provided previously was just too optimistic in the end, too optimistic for them to reasonably hit. This is, of course, disappointing, the fact that people are excited about this game. Great news in the typical sense that, yes, they are going to get more time to make this game right, rather wait a long time for a really good product than have the developers crunch and get rushed to put an unfinished, mediocre product out to store shelves. But this game does look so good. It has looked so good for so long. That weird cyberpunk 2.5D, pretty lighting looking, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe this game. It has like super realistic lighting with like this 2.5D pixelated kind of cyberpunk look. And it just, God, it's like platforming, kind of like Metroidvania style looking game, but they don't bill it as a Metroidvania, which is really exciting because I'm tired of Metroidvanias. They call it a platformer, so we'll see about that. But the game looks fucking awesome, and I really want to play this game. It looks, I don't know why this is a weird callback, but it reminds me of the Spider-Man games I used to play on Game Boy Advance in terms of like the gameplay for some reason, even though you have guns and it's cyberpunk, and I don't know, something about it reminds me of that. That's a weird personal quirk, but I'm very excited about this game. It looks really good, and I guess we'll just have to wait a little bit longer, but that's okay. There's plenty of shit keeping us all busy and distracted here in 2024, so we will patiently wait till 2025, Mr. Replaced. Thank you. Finally, Xbox has initiated an end of summer sale, which is now live. Over 500 games are on discount, so maybe go check it out if you're looking for some new shit to play. Lots of big games are on there, like a Dragon, Hogwarts Legacy, Starfield, Doom Eternal, Resident Evil 4 Gold Edition. So lots of really good stuff. If you're looking for some good games at some cheap prices, maybe now's a good time to do a little perusing on the old Xbox end of summer sale. But that's really it, guys. That's it for our opening news segments, kind of warming us up, getting us into the groove here on an Xbox On podcast, where we're now going to transition on, not strictly to the new news of the week, but we're going to talk about the games we've been playing, all those kinds of things, and then ease our way on. But before I can tell you about the game I've been playing this week, and I've been playing a badass game, I first got to tell you about what it is I've been eating. Guys, I am curious what you all think about Little Bites, Mini Muffins, whatever you want to call them. I think Entenmann's is the one that created these. They call them Little Bites. And then I know Little Debbie has a version or something like that. I don't know. I get the version at Aldi because it's cheaper. It's the Aldi brand and it tastes the exact same. But you know what I'm talking about. It's these treats that are marketed towards kids. They come in these big blocky boxes, and they come with these little pouches of mini muffins. And each pouch looks like it can hold about, I don't know, 7, 8, maybe 10 of these things. And they only put 4 of them in there. And these muffins, I mean, I was telling my girlfriend this. We never buy these because they're not good for you. But I was feeling a little naughty. And when I was at Aldi the other day, I was like, fuck it. And I bought a box of them just as a treat. Brought them home. Immediately, my girlfriend was like, ooh, I'm eating those. Those are awesome. I was like, yeah, I know they are awesome. So we're eating them. And I'm like, you know what the funny thing about this treat is like my entire life, everyone I've ever known has the exact same opinion about this snack. Regardless of whether it's the Entenmann's brand or the Little Debbie's brand or the fucking off-brand from Aldi like I'm eating, whatever it is, everyone has the exact same opinion about these Little Bite muffin snacks. And so our listeners in Canada and the UK and elsewhere, if you guys don't have these treats in your country, I feel bad for you because they are truly wonderful. But I said everyone has the exact same opinion, which is as follows. These snacks are so overpriced for what they are. It is incredibly infuriating that they give you this packaging, these individual pouches that can hold like upwards of 10 Little Bite muffins, and then they only give you 4. And you finish it in 2 seconds, and you're unsatisfied, and you just want to eat another pack. But they are one of the great snacks on like as far as like unhealthy school snack, kid geared towards type of like, treats out there on the shelves. It's one of the top options. It's like they are so very good. They are incredible. I feel like every child, every adult, when I was a kid, now that I'm older, regardless, everyone along the way throughout my entire life has that exact same opinion about these things. Like, where the fuck are all the muffins? You open up this big ass pouch, you get 4 tiny muffins hiding in a corner on the very bottom right-hand side of the pouch. Bullshit. They are so delicious. They are so good. Parents, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever bought these for your kids, good fucking luck. That's the funniest situation is when a parent buys a box of Little Bites for their kids because they, quote unquote, buy it for their kids. You know those motherfuckers are eating at least 1 or 2 pouches themselves. Ain't no mom and dad out here buying Little Bites and not having a couple for themselves. It's never happened. Never will. So shout out to Little Bites. Fuck you. You know you're overpriced. You know you're underpacking those pouches. But you know you can get away with it because they are that good. They are moist, rich, decadent, sweet, delicious. They have a chocolate chip one. They have the blueberry one. They have some other flavors now that I've never tried. But I personally, they have a brownie version of it. I personally just go for the blueberry ones. The chocolate chip ones aren't very good. But I always go for blueberry because to me, that's like blueberry muffin. Ugh. It tastes like just the best part of a muffin. It's like, it basically just tastes like muffin tops, but it's a whole muffin and they're really tiny and they're so cute and they're so fun to eat. And I just love them so much. So shout out to the Little Bites. Let me know your thoughts on Little Bites. I'm sure you've all, if you're familiar with these, I'm sure you've all had the exact same experience I just described. I am so confident in it. I would put $5 down. If anyone writes in and says, Jesse, actually, I hate Little Bites, I will challenge you to a duel, and in this duel, what will actually happen is I will fucking punch your lights out, and then shoot you in the face repeatedly, because no one should be allowed to not love Little Bites. That is how passionate I am about 2 things in this world: Little Bites and Disney Pixar's Cars, which is going to transition us beautifully into what I've been playing. You guys, I was working on Dungeons of Hinterberg. I'm playing Path of the Goddess. I'm playing a couple of games. I'm perusing. I'm dabbling. Just kind of enjoying it. I'm kind of like in a in-between time where I'm not really dedicated to any one game right now. I'm just kind of tasting my way, sampling around the Game Pass library at this point in time. But then on Saturday night, late at night, because the Walt Disney Company hates people on the East Coast. They just can't stand that on the East Coast we have the Statue of Liberty and the remnants of the Civil War. Oh, they're just so jealous about it. But Disney announced all their D23 theme park announcements, new rides, new investments in their theme parks. And by God, they finally did the one. I don't know what the hell's happening. Somewhere out there at Disney, there's some like Jesse doppelganger who's like literally just looking out for me. Like a few years ago, they're like, yo, we should do like Ratatouille in Epcot because Jesse loves Ratatouille. And then a few years after that, they were like, yo, we should do a Tron roller coaster because Jesse loves Tron. And now they just hit the trifecta. Okay, so they're literally only. Let me just finish this. We're getting a fucking Cars land here in Florida, okay? I'm about to blow my goddamn brains out. I'm over the moon about this. I don't think you understand. I don't think it's healthy for a 29-year-old adult male to stare at a piece of concept art of cartoon cars driving around the Magic Kingdom theme park as much as I have these past 72 hours, whatever the fuck it's been since it was announced. Like, this is a problem in a good way. Like, here's the thing. I must say this. I must say this about Disney. I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast who aren't into theme parks, which is probably the overwhelming majority of people, are like, Jesse loves Disney. He's a Disney dork. He's a Disney adult. Not true. Not really. Like, I'm an American. We all grew up on Disney. Sure, we all like Aladdin and from time to time get part of your world from the Little Mermaid stuck in our head. It's part of the American experience. Okay, fine, sue me. But I'm not really a Disney adult. I'm not really like obsessed with Disney. Like, people get so conflated. I love Disney theme parks. And if you've been to Disney World or Disneyland, you might understand what I'm talking about better, especially like old Disney. To me, it's like 80s, 90s Disney, like that, maybe the early 2000s Disney, like that. That's what I love, is those theme parks. It's the beautiful resorts. It's the wonderfully themed environments. It's the incredible restaurants. It's the carefree, fun, relaxing escapism of it all. It's the same reason you love video games. It's because I love walking into Adventureland and being like, this definitely does not look like Florida. This literally looks like I'm transported to this other world. Like, you go to Epcot and you're like, wow, this definitely doesn't look like the fucking slums of OBT. Like, it's nice. There's something really truly special about a properly fully themed environment. And not only that, but I just love the nice upscale restaurants that exist around Disney World, the stunning, beautiful hotels and guest areas and stuff. Like, to me, like, I don't love Disney because I love The Little Mermaid and I love Encanto and I just want to go meet Mickey Mouse in a big sweaty costume and then ride. It's a small, that's not really like the reason I loved it. I love the escapism, the beautiful themed environments. I love going to like the Boardwalk Resort and having this like turn of the century, like New England style, like beach resort, and just like getting to hang out there and eat at a beautiful restaurant, have nice cocktails at a great bar, and walk around and enjoy this beautifully manicured like grounds and just enjoy the atmosphere and the ambiance and all of it. It's beautiful. That is why I love Disney. But if I was a Disney adult, if I did love Disney because I want to wear Mickey Mouse ears and I love Beauty and the Beast and I love fucking Frozen and my Baby Yoda is my spirit animal and all that fucking shit that makes me want to put fucking really dull knives into my eyeballs. If I was one of those people, I just gotta say, there are 3 things Disney has created film and television wise in my lifetime that kind of put me on that like that spectrum, right? That spectrum of like, I'm here for the characters, I'm here for the cartoons, I'm an adult who loves anime movies. Cars, Ratatouille, and Tron. I don't know what the fuck it is out there. Someone's out there. He's targeting me, this person. Maybe she, I don't know. She's targeting me. Because now Disney World's complete. We have Cars, we have Tron, we have Ratatouille. I can die a happy man now. Whoa. Knock on wood. Let's at least get the fucking Cars land open and let me enjoy it for a couple dozen decades before we do that. But you know what I mean? Like, this is it. This is what I was living for. Some people live so that they can find the cure for cancer. Some people aspire to be the first man to settle on Mars. Some people want to live a little more humble and modest and marry someone that they can share their ideals and passions with and start a family and raise the future generation of people who will make this world a better place. People have all sorts of ideas in their heads, but I have a very specific goal in mind, and it is to live in a world where my house can be situated 20 minutes away from a place where you can do Tron, Ratatouille, and Cars all in one day. And motherfucker, that's about to happen. Anyway, we're talking about video games. I'm so hyped that we're getting a Cars. It's not really even a full-blown land, but we're getting 2 Cars rides. We're getting a Cars-themed area of the Magic Kingdom. God fucking damn it, I'm so excited. You can't take this away from me. I don't give a shit. Fuck you, Tom Sawyer. Fuck you, Liberty Bell. You guys can suck a dick. I don't give a shit. They can tear down the goddamn Haunted Mansion for all I care. I can fucking suck a dick. Those happy haunts can go happy haunt themselves to death, okay? They can, fuck them. Just give me more Cars. Lightning McQueen can have all of Fantasyland. He can have all of Frontierland. Motherfucker can take over Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't give a shit. Disneyland's is better. That's fine. Just give me more. Oh, I want more Cars that have the faces on them. Oh, it's so good. Anyway. Whew, what am I trying to say? Because I'm so excited that we're getting a Cars-themed area of Walt Disney World, of course I had to go find a Cars video game to play. The problem is, oh man, I put like, between the Switch and Xbox version, I probably put like 150 hours into Cars 3 Driven to Win. I played Cars 2, the video game, so many times. I have Cars 1, the video game, but it's on my GameCube. I'm not going to bust that out. It's been a long time. What can I play? And then it dawned on me. Cars Major National Championship Edition, the 2007 hit game, also known as an asset flip of Cars 1, developed by Rainbow Studios and published by THQ in 2007. I have never played this game on the Xbox. I have it on DS, and anyone who was around in 2007 knows that if you have a game that's on Xbox 360 but also available on DS, those are 2 different games because the thing you're playing on your DS is nothing like the thing you're playing on the Xbox. So I've played the DS game called Cars Major National Championship, but I've never played the Xbox 360 game. Happy to see that it is backwards compatible. It is available for digital purchase, and I said, fuck it. Let's celebrate. It's like popping open a bottle of wine that you've been aging for the day your kid comes home and says, I got a college degree and I'm not gay. Look, it's my girlfriend. She has a whole ass woman's body. That's like this moment for me. I'm popping out the Cars Major National Championship for Xbox 360, new in box. I'm ripping open the packaging. I'm popping that bitch inside my Xbox Series X. We are celebrating the announcement of a Cars Land coming to to the Florida states of America. I'm so excited about this. So what do I think? What has been my experience this week playing Cars Major National Championship? God, this game is just nostalgia. It's like nostalgia on a fucking stick. It's like, it's so good. First of all, this game is 100% just an asset flip of the Cars 1 video game that came out a year or two before this. But yeah, this game's awesome. It's the thing I love about these old Cars games is they have licensed music and they have like an open world kind of hub world. Not really open world. It's more like hub world kind of feel to it where you can ride around Radiator Springs. Radiator Springs is a little hub and you can just dick around and explore it, and you can go to all these race events and they have cutscenes, but you can also do these mini games and little side missions and stuff. And it is it's just so fun. It's this perfectly indicative of the time, mid-aughts, cheap, quickly made licensed movie tie-in game. And God almighty, I miss these games so fucking much. You stupid Fortnite kids with your iPads. You ruined this shit for us. You're the reason why you don't get these games anymore. But joking aside, oh my God. I miss this stuff so much. It's schlocky. It's cheap. It's just slapped together. But it's fun. Like, you can always tell these kinds of games is like cheap licensed, made in 10 months style games. It's like, you can tell that the developers behind it were just people who are just happy to be working on video games, to be professionally hired to create video games for a living. And it's so fun to see these guys take it as a challenge. Like, there are tons and tons of really bad licensed movie games, but there are tons of them that are also just like, all right, we have 10 months to make some cheap knockoff Cars sequel video game that nobody asked for. What are we going to do to make this game as not shit as we can possibly try and make it? And it's rough around the edges. The cutscenes are bad. The writing is terrible. The racing is like totally serviceable for the time, but not great at all. But it's just so much fun. Like, the game doesn't take itself too seriously, and you can understand the game in 10 seconds from starting it. And it's just, I don't know, I just miss the simplicity. You load up the game, there's a start menu, you select new save file, and then it's just like, hi, I'm Mater. Come to Radiator Springs. Cars from all over the world are here. We're doing races now. And then you're just playing as Lightning McQueen all of a sudden for no reason. And Lightning McQueen's like, I'm going to race the old man down the street and the Italian sports car. Why the fuck not? And then you're driving around Radiator Springs, racing in the desert. It's a really fun time. And I miss this shit, man. It's like jank in a good way, you know? Like, the games are rough around the edges. They're not perfect, but they're serviceable and they're fun and they're spirited. And it's just like, I can't play a game like this today. There is nothing like this because every game is oh so serious. And if we get a licensed game, it's like, we need 8 years to make a Wolverine game. We need 12 years to make another Spider-Man game. We need 47 years to make a fucking Harry Potter open world. That's great that we have these super high quality Batman and Harry Potter games and shit. And I'm glad they exist. I'm glad that those IP get the respect they deserve by getting these high quality games that respect the IP and the medium of video games by making something that demands and commands the attention of others to be like, hey, video games can be art. Video games are a medium where other IP you love can exist and be, you know, fruitful and beneficial to the source material. But also, don't you just kind of miss the fun, like, Superman Returns 2006 PlayStation 2 video game that was made in 7.5 months to make the June 6th release date of the movie or whatever? Like, don't you miss that shit? And I don't know. Cars Major National Championship, it's good stuff. It takes about 5 hours to 100% this game. I think I'm about an hour away from doing just that, and I loved every second of it. So I'm having a great old time just playing games that remind me of a simpler time before the iPhone totally obliterated the idea of casual video games. And yeah, that's it for what I've been playing, guys. We're getting a motherfucking Cars land here in Florida. What do you want? Stop complaining about inflation. Stop complaining about social equality. We're getting a Cars land next to Big Thunder Mountain. Let's be happy about that, champs. All right. Take a quick water break, come back, talk about some news, and yeah, I gotta calm myself down. I'm hyped, man. All right, let's jump into the news here, you guys. Good news, finally some good news. Actually, really great news, really heartwarming news. So, Tango Gameworks has been acquired by Krafton in a move that will keep the studio alive. VGC reports. Relays, whatever. Xbox announced back in April it was shutting down Bethesda Studios' Tango Gameworks, Redfall maker, Arcane Austin, Mighty Doom developer Alpha Dog, and support studio Roundhouse Games. The studio seemingly closed its doors in June, with developer Takio Kido sharing photos on social media of what it was like on his last day. However, South Korean publisher Krafton, which also owns PUBG Studios and the Callisto Protocol studio Striking Distance, has now announced that it has acquired Tango Gameworks, seemingly rescuing it. Krafton, quote, Krafton Inc. today welcomed the talented group of people from Tango Gameworks to their team, making an exciting moment in the company's global expansion as its first significant investment in the Japanese video game market, said the publisher. The strategic move will include the rights to Tango Gameworks' acclaimed IP, Hi-Fi Rush. The publisher plans to work with Xbox and ZeniMax to ensure a smooth transition to maintain continuity at Tango Gameworks, saying it wants the team to continue working on Hi-Fi Rush IP and other future projects. Krafton intends to support the Tango Gameworks team to continue its commitment to innovation and delivering fresh and exciting experiences for its fans. Krafton says that the move will also have no impact on the studio's previous games, The Evil Within, Evil Within 2, Ghostwire Tokyo, and Hi-Fi Rush, which will still be available on their existing platforms. iCronky writes in and says, so, Tango got acquired by Krafton. Honestly, wasn't on my bingo card, but I'm very happy that all those devs don't have to lose their jobs now. Hopefully Krafton sets more reasonable expectations for Hi-Fi Rush than they did for Callisto Protocol. Well, yeah, that's a great place to start, right? Because here's the thing about Krafton that's a little... I mean, first of all, yes, the high thoughts. Of course, this is amazing news, right? This reminds me so much of when Disney shut down Disney Infinity and said, fuck it, Avalanche Studios is getting shuttered. These motherfuckers can go kick rocks, get in line at the soup kitchen, fuck you, Bob Iger wants a new yacht. And then, months and months later, WB Games swoops in and says, hey, we'll take Avalanche Studios, we'll take your talent, we'll take your team, we'll take your name, and you guys want to go make a Harry Potter game for us? Oh, well, Disney, ha ha ha. WB had the last laugh because you tried to shut down the fucking team that made Hogwarts Legacy. You stupid bitch, Bob Iger. You're so dumb. That's not what I'm trying to say. But yeah, this does remind me of that a lot. It's a really good comeback, feel-good story, and it just makes me so happy for the team at Tango Gameworks that they're able to have this second chance. When honestly they've been a great team, and only at their highest height where they finally shut down for doing great work. So hopefully these guys are able to come back, do a Hi-Fi Rush 2, explore new IP. This is really good stuff. Now, that being said, Cronky, to get in your comment, here's my concern about Krafton is these guys used to be known as PUBG Corporation, right? But now their umbrella term is Krafton. Cool Korean publisher trying to get a little more global reach, which I respect. I think it's cool. I love that. A lot of big Korean video game publishers and developers have risen to prominence in recent history. I love this. I want to see more of this kind of prominence in other corners of the world. I love to see all of that. My concern is that PUBG, despite still being a pretty popular game, has fallen greatly from grace over the years. Like, it is not the game it once was. I mean, when people want Battle Royale, they don't go to PUBG. They go to, obviously, Fortnite, but they go to plenty of other games. There are plenty of I don't have numbers, but it just seems anecdotally like even Apex Legends is bigger than PUBG at this point, right? I don't know, maybe PUBG is just so huge because of mobile and because of its reach in like Asian territories, but it does seem like for the most part, I mean, like the highest highs of PUBG, like those days are behind them. And then you look at what else they own, and it's Striking Distance, a team that made Callisto Protocol, which, while I thought Callisto Protocol was a pretty cool game, that game completely bombed, went way over budget, didn't really make any money at all, and had incredibly unrealistic expectations thanks to Krafton. Now, the good thing is, Krafton didn't respond to that by shutting down Striking Distance. They did lay off people, but they did not shut down the studio. But now they're getting in bed with another developer that is very similar to Striking Distance in the sense that, one thing Striking Distance and Tango Gameworks have both done are create really cool games that are spiritual successors to the games that preceded them, that have not gone on to light the world on fire in the way that the games that inspired their efforts did. So remember, Striking Distance is a team of a lot of EA Redwood Shores developers, the people that created Dead Space. And so it was a lot of these old Dead Space guys coming together to create this new IP, Callisto Protocol, which is basically just a spiritual successor to Dead Space. And Tango Gameworks was created by Shinji Mikami to basically be this successor studio that made new Resident Evil, which is what the Evil Within and Evil Within 2 are, which is like, hey, what if we took Resident Evil 4 and went and made our own studio, made new Resident Evil type games? And, well, the Evil Within went on to not light the world on fire nearly in the way a game like Resident Evil 4 did. So it's just, I mean, I know they did Ghostwire Tokyo and Hi-Fi Rush and everything afterwards, but I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like they've bought the same risky studio twice now in a way, right? Obviously, Tango Gameworks has proven their versatility with Ghostwire Tokyo and more so with Hi-Fi Rush, and it seems obvious that they are going to dig further into Hi-Fi Rush and make a sequel to that game now, which is nothing like Callisto Protocol or Dead Space or Resident Evil. But it's just to say that it seems like they have Battle Royale and then a ghost of Resident Evil team and a ghost of Dead Space team. And it's just like, okay. Korean publisher with a Korean developer, a Japanese developer, and an American developer. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that they have their fingers in multiple pies. They're in the US market, they're in the Japanese market, the Korean market, and they're trying to spread and get more global. But it's like, I feel like, judging by past works, that a team like Tango and a team like Striking Distance have about equal opportunity or equal chance of striking gold or creating a game that is going to be the smash hit success that Krafton needs in order to become a big player. And I wonder and worry if they're just going to keep, like, you know, if they're going to invest in teams like this that are a little riskier, if they're just going to keep coming back with these donuts by having these teams that create these games that are critically loved, like Hi-Fi Rush. Like, we all love Hi-Fi Rush. We all love, a lot of us love Callisto Protocol, but these games didn't have mass marketability. That's why Xbox ultimately pulled the plug on Tango, because even though they were proud of it critically, and even though everyone did love it who played it, not a whole lot of people played it, and that's the problem. And so I just wonder, it's like, did Tango Gameworks go from one precarious situation to another? I hope not. I'm not trying to, bring so much negativity and doom to this otherwise really exciting and heartwarming news, but it does make me a little worried in that regard. So there's that. And then there was one other thing I wanted to say about this, but the other thing is it was confirmed like the next day. So as of today, it's been confirmed. Xbox owns Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo. So Krafton only got Hi-Fi Rush, and obviously the team. They got the team and the IP for Hi-Fi Rush, so they can't go back and do some of their older games. Maybe that will change. Maybe Xbox will part with it. I don't know, but that'll be interesting to see how that works and if they'll be able to take Hi-Fi Rush off of Game Pass, because maybe, I don't know if Xbox will retain publishing rights for the game or how that will work, but we'll have to wait and see. It's just really exciting to see these guys get another shot at life. And, hopefully this will be one of those comeback stories where maybe much in the way that Avalanche came back and made Hogwarts Legacy and made Disney look stupid and dumb at the same time for trying to shut them down, maybe Tango Gameworks can come back, create some new original IP that lights the world on fire and does incredibly well and makes Xbox look so stupid for shutting them down. So I would love for that to be the case. I'm always rooting for the underdog. And in this case, I'd rather see Tango Gameworks kick Xbox's ass than see Xbox and Microsoft at large get to just be a fucking big corporation that does shitty things again. But yeah, props to our boys over at Tango. Now, speaking of WB, our next story here is that WB Discovery CEO David Zaslav says he's looking into licensing the company's IP to non-Warner Bros. Studios to produce games. Speaking as part of the company's financial results, he discussed that he thought 2023's Hogwarts Legacy was a success and how it could be the template for future Warner titles. He said, quote, and this is via IGN, "One of the reasons Hogwarts Legacy was so successful in the number one game last year was that you went over to Hogwarts and you entered the game and you were able to become part of that world. That ultimately, I think, is a big piece of where the industry is going. That we'll create a movie, whether it's Batman or Superman or Harry Potter, and maybe there'll be a TV show, but the ability to go into that world and have them experience and spending time with the characters is something that we still own. We have 11 studios here, and we have a lot of IP, and there's also a lot of interest among others coming to take advantage of some of that IP for gaming, which we're looking at." So they're saying, talking about potentially looking at their gaming IP the way that they look at movies, where it's like you could own the IP and then outsource various movie studios to work on it, or production companies, I suppose, to work on it. And I guess that makes sense. You could own a handful of your own teams like Avalanche or like Rocksteady or whatever, and then you can also or NetherRealm or whatever you're thinking of. And then you could also license out, NetherRealm's working on Injustice and Rocksteady's working on a new Batman game. But why can't we, outsource a Superman game to Insomniac if they want to make, if Sony wants to do a licensing deal to make a Superman video game, just as a stupid example. It's like, why can't something like that happen? And I like this approach. It's a safe, I think it's actually really smart because we know WB is kind of worried about games because even though they love the returns they get sometimes on these big hit games, they also hate the high risk nature of having to invest big into something like Suicide Squad, only for it to be super costly if it doesn't pan out. So this is a great way to diversify and minimize your risk by having your first party teams that make your big tentpole titles like Hogwarts Legacy, but also by taking in big licensing fees by licensing out IP to other developers. I mean, I'm sure there's someone at Ubisoft, someone at EA who would love to get a crack at some of these IP just like they've done with Star Wars. So I think very much they could do that with like DC or Harry Potter or whatever. The one that comes to mind for me, I know a lot of people wanted Xbox to buy WB Games. While I don't support that, I do think Xbox, hey, I don't know, man, maybe you take Crystal Dynamics, maybe you acquire Crystal Dynamics and then license out, I don't know, what would be something they could do? You could acquire Crystal Dynamics and then get them to make like an Aquaman video game that's like Tomb Raider or something. Like you could do something like that, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of like random ideas, but like, I think that would be cool for Xbox and all their many, many teams they own to license out, especially a DC superhero game as a way of like kind of responding to Sony having Wolverine and Spider-Man. I think that would be a very obvious thing you'd probably want to do. So I would love to see something like that. I'm trying to think what would be a good Xbox team. What's an Xbox team that would even be available that could do something like that? I don't know. Dude, I want Double Fine to make a video game based on Blue Beetle because I would love that. I want that so bad. Yes. Isn't there a Wonder Woman game? Isn't someone making a Wonder Woman game? I don't fucking know. So, hey, I'm all for this. I want to see, yeah, there you go. Have Crystal Dynamics make a Wonder Woman game. Have the Coalition make a game where you play as Cyborg from the Justice League and just shoot shit like you do in Gears of War, but as the cyborg guy. I would be all over this shit. I don't know. I feel like they could do something, but we already know Xbox is trying to get in bed with Marvel as well because they have Blade coming from Arcane. So I don't know, just spitballing here, but this is a cool thought exercise of like these various non-WB Games teams that could possibly take on games with these IP if licensed out. So I'm all for it. Let's see it happen. Very smart move for WB. I think that would be very wise for them to do something like that. All right, let's wrap up with a story that is, that Avengers meme where it's Hawkeye and he's like the samurai version of Hawkeye. And he's like, don't give me hope or whatever. That's how I feel about this because I just want Xbox hardware to do well so we can continue to get more of it. But from Pure Xbox, quote, or read the following. In recent months, we've heard plenty about Xbox's well-documented hardware sales struggles in Europe, but it isn't necessarily the case in the US, Xbox's primary market. Despite a big drop in the worldwide sales last quarter, an industry analyst is on hand to remind us that the console is doing pretty well in its home market. Taking to social media, Circana, previously known as MPD, Matt Piscatella, tells us that the console market is not doomed despite sales dropping in certain regions. Going on to say that Xbox Series consoles are holding close to Xbox 360's pace when comparing the two generations in the US. This is from his tweet directly. He says, in the US, PS5 is still 7% ahead of PlayStation 4 life to date, and Switch is only 1.1 million behind the PS2 in lifetime sales. Even Xbox, for all its known challenges, is holding close to the Xbox 360's life-to-date pace, and will get a college football 25 boost, I think is what that means. No, the console market is not doomed. Sheesh. So this is interesting data. I know we pull a lot from VGC, which is a European outlet, but apparently Xbox is doing really well in the US. It's just its sales overall are down because it's just suffering in all the other markets, but it's holding up quite well here domestically, which is really interesting. Kind of explains the fact that like no one owned an Xbox One last generation, but I feel like everyone I know had an Xbox One, even though no one owned an Xbox One, and that would kind of make sense to say it's like, oh, Americans buy it, but no one else buys it. I'm like, okay, that kind of explains its global sales. But anyway, the story wraps up and says, Matt does acknowledge some known challenges that Xbox had with shifting consoles this generation, but this is a good reminder that the bigger picture when comparing is to see as a huge success, that being the Xbox 360 for the US. If you're wondering, CF25 is college football. Yes, of course, that game gave a huge boost to Xbox Series sales because there were sales going on. There were like different incentives to where you could get like $50 off an Xbox Series S if you bought like the Target bundle of the game and the console. Another game that should also see a boost in Xbox hardware sales is GTA 6, of course, next year. But anyway, judging by these figures, I wish we had more data but to pour through, but this is promising to know that Xbox is at least doing well domestically. I mean, I think it's going to take more of a global penetration in order for Xbox to really see the long-term commitment that we need them to see in order to secure Xbox's future as a hardware platform. But it is promising to know that at the very least, anecdotally speaking from analysts who do have more sales data than we do, obviously, that Xbox is apparently doing pretty well here. I mean, Xbox 360 was a juggernaut in the US in the early to mid aughts, in the mid to late aughts. So that is pretty exciting news. Here's hoping that they are able to somehow grow it, man. That's the problem, is like, how do you reach Europe again? Asia's pretty much just a lost cause for Xbox at this point, but how do you deeply connect with the European market? And that's hard, especially because not only do Europeans love PlayStation, but Europeans really, really love PC gaming, and PC gaming is just, it's such a blight on the Xbox experience. And I just feel so badly for Microsoft, because even though they created good with Windows, they didn't mean to create a platform where Steam could exist on and then take away from the owed and deserved sales of Xbox hardware. And that just makes me sad. But I just wanted to read this because it's a little perspective. I know we usually read a lot of European data from VGC, and it does seem like Xbox is just fucking tanking over there. But at least it's holding up somewhat, and to some extent here in the US. And that gives me hope as we look to this next generation of Xbox hardware, which we should be learning something about pretty soon. So, hell yeah, bring it on. Hey, I'm always buying Xbox hardware. I have a Series S and a Series X. Bring it on, baby. I'll buy the next thing. I'm dumb. I'll do it. Guys, that's going to do it for all of our news this week. Let's round out the podcast real quick with the important enough news. Stories important enough to make the podcast, but not important enough to warrant their own discussion. Got a handful to get through here, so let's start rattling them off. Stalker 2. All right. GSC Game World has provided an all-new in-depth look at Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. Following a number of delays, the game has now been delayed to November 20th. But we got a 36-minute video featuring insights from the developers and plenty of new gameplay featured, including story quests and through the great swamps of the game. Next up, the new release date of the open world Terminator Survivors. The release of the open world Terminator Survivors video game has been delayed. Publisher Nacon has announced. Previously scheduled to come to PC and console on October 24th, it's now coming to console at a later date, sometime in 2025. So PC, curse you for getting spared there. Next up, Remedy Entertainment has provided updates on several of its upcoming games, including Max Payne Remake and Control. According to development, Control 2 has progressed to the production readiness stage, and the game is now playable as the team reaches important milestones in the game's development. Max Payne 1 and 2 Remakes, which Remedy is working on in co-production with Rockstar, has progressed from production readiness to full production stage, according to Remedy. And Remedy also provided updates on its project codenamed Condor. The development team has been working on multiple maps and different mission types, and we have organized growing amounts of internal and limited external playtesting that feature validation and feedback, they say. So, good to know that things are coming along for them as we eagerly await what's going to happen now after Alan Wake 2. Next up, the second of 2 Halloween video games has been revealed, alongside a new game based on Evil Dead, the IP. On Monday, it was announced that Boss Team Games, which is most recently responsible for Evil Dead, the video game, is working on 2 games based on the 1978 movie Halloween. Monday's announcement, which is when it was revealed, also told us about how these games would be developed using Unreal Engine 5 and would have input from John Carpenter, the original movie's director. As of now, it's being reported by IGN that the 2 games are in a series of retro-themed licensed games that will be called Retro Realms, which will be developed by Boss Team Games and Way Forward. Retro Realms, Halloween, and Retro Realms, Ash vs. Evil Dead, are action platform games created in a 16-bit art style. Each game will be $25 digitally or can be purchased physically as a 2-in-1 bundle for $50 US, which is no savings, but whatever. The screenshots of those games actually look pretty cool. I didn't see any videos, though. All right, guys, that's going to do it for all of our news this week. Now we get to the best and final part of the podcast, the comments, the shout-outs from YouTube.com. You go to the website, youtube.com/XboxOnPodcast. It's at XboxOnPodcast, youtube.com. Click on the latest episode. Don't click on an old episode. I will smite you. And drop a comment. Say anything nice, anything mean. Just say anything. Just let me know you're there, okay? Please, for the love of Christ. Just like the following 4 people did, Jay Comatose writes in and says, "Rest in peace, Game Informer. The Ultimate Toilet Time Magazine." Couldn't have said it better myself, Jay Comatose. Have a wonderful weekend. Dead Captain James says, "I'm okay with Avowed getting delayed. More polish is always welcome. I hope it runs flawlessly on PC without stuttering FPS." How dare you, James Captain Dead, when you are fucking coming to an Xbox podcast, you are basically what you're doing is you're walking into the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Coca-Cola Company, and you're walking straight on up to the 27th floor of the Coca-Cola Building Corporation Incorporated building of facilities and management. And you're going all the way up to the top and you're saying, "Boys, I've got a beverage so good, it'll wet your whistle this side of the Mississippi you ain't ever seen." And you put down a bottle of Pepsi? You motherfucker, you're here in the lion's den and you're playing with fire, boy. We don't want your goddamn PC, so why don't you get on out of here while you still can? Okay, Dead Captain James, thank you for writing in. God bless you. Hope the kids are well. Sorry for saying those words to you. I do respect them. I appreciate you. Cronky writes in and says, "I don't mind Avowed getting delayed because I have a big..." He says, "I don't mind Avowed getting delayed. I found that I have so little time for games right now that I'm actually kind of relieved I don't have to cram this into my schedule. Plus, I want time to dive back into Starfield." Good point. That Starfield DLC I know is going to pull me back in as well, so that is a good point. Starfield will do a great job of filling that wintertime open world RPG kind of need that I'm assuming I'll have for some reason. Good point, Cronky. You get bony points. Yeah, I don't get brownie points. I get bony points for that, so you're going to get some bony points. Be sure to be on the lookout on your least used email account that you made in middle school. I will be sending it to one of those addresses for sure. And then we have a wrap-up comment from one of my favorite boys. This boy's so good to me. He's been so good over the years, and now I'm going to be good to you by sharing his kind words. Mr. Sam Frito writes in and says, "Jesse, there comes a time in every podcast, gaming, or murder mystery life when I can't stand by the host because losing their advertisers is a scary possibility if they get hairy and too controversial for Manscaped. I gotta watch what I say, guys. I don't want Manscaped to pull out funding. Guys, Manscaped doesn't want you to know about big hair care. Anyway, you have never made me listen to a rusty nail tattoo removal ad, and you have the greatest vocabulary of cussing, of a cussing 8-year-old. Oh, thank you. I like your show overall, over all the rest because you say, "Fuck you, Panera Bread, stop pinching my loaf," or call attention to pumpkin spice latte being a fall treat, like a power pill for drive-through Pac-Mans on their way to Walt Disney World to see spooky time decorations. I do need to get to Magic Kingdom and see their new fall decorations. It's very true. I do need to do that this weekend, presumably. This weekend, I'm going to go to Magic Kingdom to check out the Halloween decorations. I'm going to go to where they're going to tear down Tom Sawyer's Island and replace it with Cars Land, and I'm going to stare and drool. And then some mother with young children who's on vacation from Wyoming is going to walk by me and say, "Kids, stay close to mommy. Don't look at that man." And I'm going to drool even harder. Anyway, I salute you. Not many of the podcasts I listened to 6 years ago still rock. You, on the other hand, still speak out for truth, freedom, and Sonic the Hedgehog. I miss the good Happy Meal toys. Oh, God, I miss good Happy Meal toys. Dude, at least once a month, I'll just randomly think about that time in 1999 when McDonald's was giving out those little Lego kits, and my dad kept going to McDonald's to try and collect all of the Lego kits for us, and then he'd take them home, and then we would just like fuck with them and try to build stupid shit out of them. Good times, man. Borderlands movie made me very sleepy. Well, I'm glad you got a good nap out of it, Sanford. Listen, if you spent $14 on a movie ticket and all you got out of it was a really good nap, you can't be too upset, you know? Good sleep can be hard to come by. So, Sam Frito, glad you had a good nap. I appreciate your kind words. In a way, I'm like, this is very flattering and it's very nice of you to say. And I appreciate you taking the time to think and write all these things. It does mean a lot. Like, genuinely, it does mean a lot. But on the other hand, it also just kind of tells me, it's like, Jesse, I like your podcast because you're not likable enough to hit a mainstream listenership. so that you be eligible for podcast ads, and therefore your show has stayed good because you don't have to do ad reads on your show because you're not good enough to get the attention of advertisers. Listen, I'll accept it. I'll more than take it. I'll own it. But no, for real, that's just a insecure joke aside. I really do love doing this podcast, and one of the things that is great about this I have no affiliation or connection to the games industry. I have no ties or no sources or friends or people I need to be thoughtful of or considerate of or mindful of. I can literally just say whatever the fuck I want about video games on this podcast, and it has nothing to do with my financial benefit or well-being. And so I do love that about this podcast, because I feel like this is kind of a, I don't mean this in a weird way, but it's kind of a fringe fucking stupid ass podcast, and it's drawn a very small but very much appreciated group of people together who I notice you guys. I notice the names that we see time and time again. I appreciate you guys so much. It's been so fun getting to know, to some extent, a lot of you guys over the years, and being able to just have our kind of shared schizophrenic Xbox goofy attitudes, because I don't know, it's good, man. Life is tough sometimes, and it's good to just have some fun and talk about nothing that matters, and happy to do it with all you guys. So Sam Frito, thank you for writing in. I don't really know what I just said, but I do know this: McDonald's sandwiches taste so much better if you do not get ketchup or mustard on them. And I say this as someone who likes mustard a lot. I know I have a reputation of being a ketchup hater. Maybe it's deserved. It is deserved. But I'm a mustard lover. But I am telling you, I'm not Donald Glover. I'm a mustard lover. I'm telling you with all due respect, if you get a double cheeseburger from McDonald's, even if you like condiments, just trust me, no ketchup, no mustard. The cheese and onions will shine further without the presence of ketchup and mustard, and it will taste even better. I'm talking about a bun, a patty, a slice of cheese, a patty, a slice of cheese, onions, pickles, no ketchup, no mustard. This is the way. Not for other burgers. If you're going to a nice burger restaurant, you're getting a proper burger, you got to have some mayo or aioli or some shit on it, or a nice mustard. You need those condiments. But I'm telling you right now, for the express consideration of McDonald's and McDonald's alone, you need to try it without the ketchup and the mustard. And just like ketchup and mustard, yellow and red, these are the colors of Knuckles and Tails, two characters that Sonic the Hedgehog is very close friends with. And like Sonic the Hedgehog, I gotta go fast, but please enjoy this Sonic music as I tell you to be safe, be good to one another, take care of yourselves, enjoy yourselves. Life is very short, and we will all be well aware of that one day. So in the meantime, try to make the most of it. Until next week, please power your dreams. I'm like, you don't need to be Duke Energy out here with the fucking power lines, but you can do it. Maybe if you close your eyes and think real hard, you can muster up enough electrical current to power your own dreams. So let's do that, boys and girls. There's no girls here. Let's be honest. There's no fucking women listening.